Morning, everybody. It is 8:10 a.m. December 6th. It's Friday. Hope everybody's doing good. Now, this market yesterday made all-time highs in the Qs and SPY yesterday. Then it pulled back. Didn't even reach the previous day's lows, but had a pullback nevertheless. Um, Yesterday, Tesla had a nice move, and looks like Google kind of pulled back. AMD semis were kind of weak yesterday. Nvidia didn't wasn't that weak, but AMD kind of pulled back on us, and GE, unfortunately, I have an options play in that, dumped after rising. It dumped. Um, that's kind of what's going on in the market yesterday. Kind of like market opened up, and we had. I'll show you instead of me talking about it. I'll look at you the internals. My go-to, my number one thing to look at. Okay. Now, look at this week. Notice how this white line is basically equal weight is so much weaker. That means the overall market, if it's all equal, it wasn't market cap weight, was so weak compared to market cap is actually how the market works, right? And yesterday, we started out here, and the actual overall market was stronger than the market cap weight. But then that flipped again. So yesterday was flipping. It was definitely interesting day because it like flipped. Actually, S&P 500 was stronger than the Nasdaq. Then it flipped back where the Nasdaq was then stronger than the very interesting low volume market yesterday. Now you can see the sectors up here were mixed. You had tech down. At one point, tech was green. All right, but it ended up tech was down, healthcare down, financials up, consumer discretionary with Tesla up. Right. So basically a mixed market, right? And you have communications, industrials. Industrials down big with Uber and GE, two largest holdings. Okay, just wanted to show you that. All right, so just wanted to show you that. Now let's just get right into it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use volume profile, market profile to find structure in the markets, along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. All helps me find structure in the markets. It's my edge. All right. And I hope to impart some of this edge on everybody who watches this channel. Okay? That's what I hope to do. Now, today I was actually on schedule, 8:10 a.m. Even though my daughter's asthma is still an issue, I just made it by the skin of my teeth. So, every day, I try to do this at 8:10 a.m. Hopefully, you can join me, subscribe, set an alert. Trying to build this channel. Okay? I'm trying to build this channel. Now, every day I do this. Hopefully, have a cup of coffee, have a cup of tea, have a cup of water, whatever you like to drink. Driving in your car, just listen to me. I give you what's going on yesterday, what's going on today, news, economic calendar, daily charts, long and short trade scenarios. And then when the stock market opens, you're not with me, but then I make videos to show you what I do when I want to put risk on, right? And you can check those videos out on my X at Gonzo719. My YouTube shorts, please check them out. Also, TikTok, Gonzo719 Trader. Okay? And of course, always show me some love, and you can smash that like button. That'd be much appreciated. All right, now we can get right into the watch list here. Let's see what's going on with futures here. Now, there was a flash crash in Bitcoin last night. It went down all the way to 91,000. I think it went up to 104 or something yesterday. So it's back under 100K. So it recovered from that 91K. I was just reading about it. So that's what's going on in Bitcoin. Now let's just look at leader here. Who's the leader today? Ether up 0.57. Then you got VIX maybe going up a little bit because non-farm payrolls and unemployment data coming at 8:30 today. All right, gold. Gold is up 0.35. Silver is up 0.20. Russell's up 0.13. Dollar is 0.11. 10-year yields up 0.07. A lot of these are benign because of the data that's coming at 8:30. 30-year bonds being bought up 0.05, Nasdaq's being up 0.02, ES up 0.08. I mean down 0.08. Dow's down 0.12. Crude is down 1%. Crude is kind of bottoming at a key level, so I'm going to be watching crude. Bitcoin is down 1.17. Like I said, it was down to like I think 91,000 overnight. Moving on. Mag 7 Plus. Who's the leader? Tesla. Tesla's up 2%. All right. So they are looking pretty good. Amazon also these two are part of discretionary. So Amazon's up 0.54, Coinbase up 0.54, even though Bitcoin's down. Microsoft's up 0.31, Boeing's up 0.30. All right, let's go to laggard here. Is there any real laggard? I mean, you got Broadcom down 0.10. That's not a lot. Google down 0.16, and you got Nvidia down 0.44. Okay, Nvidia down 0.44. Now moving on. Top sector stocks here. Let's see what we got here. Snowflake leading the pack up 0.90, followed by Uber up 0.57, followed by United Healthcare up 0.44. Laggard, not really, except the only laggard I would really say is PepsiCo. PepsiCo. Now it looks like they had a dividend, so that's probably why. So that's what's going on there. Now look at the swing trade list. Let's look at that. DocuSign, up 13.77%. Lululemon reported earnings. They are up 9.05%. Ulta Beauty reported earnings. They are up 8.82%. Viva, one of my holdings, I'm in there about from 180. They reported earnings and beat and are up 6.62%. Loving that. Tap up 2.61. SoundHound up 2.48. Robinhood up 2.36. Shopify, I believe, got an upgrade, up 2.35. Alibaba up 2.26. SoundHound, I'd already talked about. It's kind of moving on me. Dollar General up 2.12. OpenAI up 2.11. That's all I'm going to talk about there. All right, so laggard. Let's see who's lagging the pack today. Any laggards? AMC. I saw they did some kind of offering, I think. So they're down 7.5%. Alcoa is down 1.28. Bitcoin ETF's down 1.1. Taiwan Semiconductors down 1%. That's really, there's not much weakness today in that list. Okay. Moving on to the sectors, the guts of the market. Let's look at the leader. No surprise here with Amazon and Tesla. Discretionary is leading the pack. That is up 0.52, followed by utilities. And there's not much leading after that. Now, the only laggard, semis down 0.12. That's not much for a laggard, right? We got data coming at 8:30. So things will move at 8:30. All right. Now, moving on to economic calendar and the market news. Let's do that. So we have non-farm payrolls and unemployment coming out. Now, what do we expect? Now, the last number was horrendous. We only added 12,000. They said that was because of a hurricane. That's why the number was so bad. However, we're expecting 200K jobs added today. So let's see what we do. We are expecting, interesting, unemployment to rise 0.1. Previous 4.1. So we'll see if there's any outsized moves in those two things. You also have average hourly earnings. We have Fed Bowman speaking at 9:15. We have Michigan consumer sentiment at 10, and then more Fed speak at 10:30 and 12 and 1. So a lot of Fed speak today. All right, I'm hoping to get into something after 10 a.m. If it's not and not looking good, I don't want to be really. It stinks that they're all talking when the market's open. Sometimes it has no effect, but sometimes it does. All right, so that's the economic calendar for today. All right, let's move on to some news. Let's see. Ulta Beauty stock soared 11% after the cosmetics retailer raised its annual profit forecast, signaling a revival in demand for perfumes and makeup during the holiday shopping season. Lululemon stock rose 9.3 after the sportswear maker increased its full year forecast, betting on resilient demand for its athletic wear. What else? DocuSign stock soared 12% after the electronic signature company raised its 2025 revenue forecast. Boeing stock slipped 0.2 after the judge on Thursday rejected the aircraft manufacturer agreement to plead guilty to fraud in the wake of two fatal 737 MAX crashes. Robinhood stock rose 2.2 after Goldman Sachs assumed coverage of the financial services company with a buy rating, citing best-in-class earnings growth. Shopify stock rose 1.8% after Loop Capital upgraded the e-commerce platform to buy from hold. That's what's going on right there. The juice, we don't got much to talk about here. We don't want much to talk about here. Let's see here. Now in this one, it looks like the forecast is 4.1. So in the other one, I was looking at 4.2. So um, maybe we're just looking 4.1. We'll see. All right. Let's go to upgrades, downgrades. Accenture upgraded. Asana upgraded. Dollar General upgraded. Hood upgraded. We talked about. Altria Group upgraded. Peloton upgraded. Sell to a neutral. Wow, a sell to a neutral. Shopify hold to a buy. We already know about this. All right, let's talk about downgrades. John Deere downgraded from a buy to a hold. All right, moving on to initiations. Abercrombie and Fitch initiated Outperform. Celsius a buy. Who else here? Monster Beverage initiated at a hold. Boston Beer, Sam initiated a hold. Constellation Brands initiated a buy. TAP, what we saw before, initiated a buy. So that's why TAP is up. Always reason, folks. Price target changes. Let's check it out. Let's go with raises first. Target raise on Zillow. Target raised. I love these. Viva Systems. Target raised to 290 to 270 to 283. Woo, loving it. Ulta Beauty. Target raised 500. Let's see here. Lululemon. Target raised 430, 400, 440. Target raised for GitLab. Five below. Target raised. DocuSign. Target raised. Decker's Outdoor. Target raised. A lot of target raised today, huh? Asana target raised. All right, lowards. Let's see who we got here. Lowards, not really nothing to talk about there. All right, moving on. Moving on to daily charts. Moving on to daily charts here. Before we got that 8:37 minutes counting down to this data that is coming out. 7 minutes. What the heck is going on here? Hold on, folks. I hit something I wasn't supposed to on my computer. All right, now. I was like, what the heck is going on here? All right, here we go. Let's go to the SPY, good old SPY. All right. And let's talk about that lackluster day yesterday, right? So what did we do? Gap hold, right? Previous day. Made all-time highs yesterday, right? Looked like all good in the hood. And then we just sold a little bit. Didn't even reach the previous day's lows. This market is a tough short, right? It's just tough. So a consolidation day, basically, right? Consolidation day. Nothing bearish about this. So where are we at now? 606.34, 606.34. Right at the lower, but almost at the lows. Okay, almost at the lows. Check futures out. So you can see here, kind of like a bounce, pushed up. We're just moving sideways. That's all we're doing. Remember, big data is coming out. No one's going to put risk too much on. Moving on to the Qs. Qs, back big gap up, held that gap. Moves pushed up, broke the highs of the previous day, and didn't even touch the previous day's lows. We kind of just moved sideways. Now, when you're watching it, you could be like, ooh, selling, but it's really not in the grand scheme of things. 522 is where we're at. 522. So kind of at the lower third of yesterday's session. Let's look at the live look of futures. Yeah, see, we're right here, just moving sideways, waiting for this data to come out. Moving on to our triple head monster. Look at that 10-year pesky 10-year yield. We're just holding on to this 200-day moving average, 50 moving average, right? We're going to break up or down from here. This could be the catalyst today if there's some kind of outsized number in the data. Okay. Do I know that? No, I don't. We have to wait and see. We are less than 5 minutes away. So let's go to the second head of this monster, which would be our dollar. I think the dollar's doing the same thing. It is pushed down and it's kind of consolidating, right? Right on around this 105.88 level. And yeah, we're just waiting for more data. All right, let's go to the fear gauge, which there is none. All right, there's no fear in these markets right now at all. We're down to a 13.52 VIX. This is nothing, or right at last week's lows. There's no fear in this market, folks. No fear at all. All right, that wraps up our daily charts. Now, we wait for news. And before we wait for news, okay, let's just go straight here. Usually what I call the main event. And that's our market profile and volume profile. And we can just check out the news here. Okay. And I'll break out the profile right here. And we'll look at the price movement. Get it nice and big. All right, so right now, obviously, price is right here. Big dot. Wherever that dot goes, is where price is going to go. Okay. Now, if I make this a little smaller here. So, it's a little recap. Might as well do a little recap of yesterday. So, what did we do? Right? What did we do yesterday? Close right here. Remember this profile here? And then we opened at the top of the overnight session, right? And we kind of drove here and then we pushed up, right? Kind of pushed down. It's like basically this 60.96. You can see this volume here, right? That's horrible. Let me just show you this. Volume really accumulated in this area, right? And what happened was we went above it, right? Then we pushed down, went down to here, pushed back up all the way up to here. And then when we came through that level again, that's where we came down here, right? So that's what happened yesterday. So you can look at this price action, right? So kept holding this support, right? Came down here in C period, in D period, H period, and then finally, when it went up one last time, it finally broke through that low. It's basically what happened, right? So that's what happened yesterday. Nothing really crazy about it. Very balanced profile. And now we're here, right? Keep touching this demand zone. We dip down into the demand zone. So wait and see. Wait and see. And this is the month-to-day view up. And the week-to-day view up right here at 60.75. Data is dropping in 40 seconds. Okay. So watch price. See what it's doing. We do have a supply zone here. Might mean nothing. When the data comes out, it might rip. But I still have it there, right? We still have an unfilled gap here. Right here. Big demand zone right here. And we just watch. We just watch data coming out in 20 seconds. Okay. We'll go to the data. I'm trying to think if I want to watch price action first or the data first. We'll look at price action first. Then we'll go to the data. All right, boom. There's our data. All right, we push down initially. A quick move down. Where? Right. Whoa. Look at this movements. Look at that. Wow. We push where? Right down to the anchored VWAP of the month and the week. We hit where? Right up to the most traded price of yesterday. Right? Blew through the supply zone. So I'm gonna guess some kind of outsized something in the numbers, right? To whip that much. Let's go to the numbers. Give me a sec while I pull those numbers up. Because something, let's check these numbers out. All right, Jesus. Um, so we added more jobs. We added more jobs to 200 consensus. We added 227,000. But now, remember I showed you before 4.2 was expected. We got a rise in unemployment from the last number. It rose zero point 0.1, but we added more jobs. So it's kind of contradictory there. Now, in this one, consensus is 4.2, came 4.2, but you saw the juice here. It was expecting 4.1, got 4.2. All right. So, interesting, right? Interesting. Contradictory there. So let's just go with this went up from the previous unemployment. Unemployment rose and we added more jobs. That's what we're looking at right now. Okay? It's contradictory, but the market right now is moving up. Okay? Okay, the market is moving up. It went down, then went up. Okay? And actually went into supply right now. Now we can make this smaller again and come right into, we can start to analyze a little bit here. Okay? And now we got to kind of got a completed profile, and we're putting in some thin volume, which is this is all making sense. Okay, we're pushing up more. Now, what I could say is this: kind of ignore the added jobs and pay more attention to the rise in unemployment. Right? What rise in unemployment would mean, definitely going to get a cut in the next FOMC. Now, I wonder if this is a trend now that unemployment is going to start to rise. Now, the one thing that's interesting about that is we have a holiday season coming up, and you would think that's probably why we added jobs with holiday, but then unemployment went up. So all I can say is the market is kind of liking it because this could mean that we're going to get more cuts. Possibly, the Fed might be more aggressive. Um, Before I do anything, let's look at the Fed Watch tool together. Let's look at that together. That Fed Watch tool. I know I got it in my favorites here. Hold on. Yes. Let's do that here. All right. So for the next Fed meeting, current rate, let's call it 450. 72% looking for a quarter point rate hike cut. Okay. 27% of a pause, nothing done. So I don't know where this was previous to these numbers coming out. Okay. Now there isn't a 50 base on here cut. So that's what that looks like. Okay. Back to the main event here. Okay. Now where are we at? Okay. You got a nice balance looking profile. You have single prints up here, excess. You got the bulk, and then you got excess. Right. Went right down to that month to date, week to day VWAP, and got bought up. All right. So you shook out longs here, then you punish shorts here. Okay. and we're in supply. And we literally went right up to this. This is like a 1 hour supply zone inside a larger supply zone. And it went right there. Boop. Okay. All right. So let's take this in and let's come up with some plans here. Let me make this a little smaller so I can zoom out a little bit here. Okay. Let's look at our profile. So now our profile, right? What the market has not done, and it should do it today if we stay up here, needs to move this most traded price of the week up here. Now, this candidate is 60.95, 60.96, looking like if we stay up here, it's going to move. But at this point, it hasn't. But my guess, if we stay up here, it will. So that would be bullish. Okay. That would be very bullish. All right. So let's look at what we have here. Okay. So this is yesterday's all-time highs, yesterday's lows. Now price, where? Horrible plot, horrible place. You're at the midpoint of yesterday, at the most traded price of yesterday. That's where price is. Okay. Overnight high is here. Overnight low is here. We were gapping down. Now we're in the middle of the range. It's just not where you want to be because now this is probably going to turn into the most traded price of the week. Okay. So not good trade location right now. Not at all. So how did we play this? Okay. Um, we have single prints here, right? Once the new, well, I don't know if you'll be with me, but 9 o'clock will be new 30-minute period here. The next letter, that's how market profile works. It just goes by letters. Will be formed, and you'll see some single prints up here. Some single prints here. Okay. So my thing right now is obviously this is still in bullish structure. Still in bullish structure, but this is a pretty nasty supply zone. Okay. Pretty nasty. So what would I think about here? Let's look at some things here. Let's break this out. Maybe there's a demand zone in here. Probably right here. But that's already demand, so that's not going to work. That is not going to work. Okay. Now, let's look at some levels here that I can see potential here. All right. Now, value area. Remember, 70% of the trade is yesterday. Of yesterday is here to here. That's the bulk. The 70% of time spent in the markets were here. Okay. That's the meat of yesterday's trading volume. We're right inside that, right? But this is value area high right here. Kind of lines up with overnight high. So bulls want to break this, right? And send us off to all-time highs again. Sellers want to step in here. Okay, because sellers stepped in here yesterday. Okay, and then we have supply. So that's what I'm looking for up here. Okay. Then when we come down lower, what do we have? 60.83, right? And the overnight low, and you have the month to day view up and week to day view up, and a big demand zone right here. To me, where I have the boxes is where I want to engage with the market. That's where I want to engage, right? Now, like I said, we're in bullish structure. Shorts are very hard to take. Okay. Now look, we're pushing up, which is fine. It's going to even line up more with the value area high, 6101. That's just fine. It's fine. Okay. Um, it's pushing right up there right now. So even that level is even more important. Remember, we're going into supply right now. Okay. It's a big one too. It's a big supply zone. So we'll see. Okay. Now how you gauge that, right? Whenever I say this is a big supply zone, right? Is all right. Let's see what it does. Can you take it out? Can you break it? Because that tells you what market's strong. Now, if it only breaks it like this and starts to go back, that doesn't mean the supply zone. I mean, the supply zone is definitely broken, but that doesn't mean that that resistance doesn't hold, right? But if we do something like break it and then start doing this, that is bullish, okay? So let's get right into scenarios here. I don't want to beat around the bush anymore. I believe this is all because unemployment rose, all right? So let's start with some scenarios here. Not sure who's with me today. Um, if you're new, welcome. If you're back, welcome back. If I have nobody, I do this by myself, right? I'll be doing this with nobody. So hopefully somebody's there. All right. So let's talk about the longs. All right. Couple things I can say here. Okay. Now this is the most traded price of yesterday, right? Right here, 60.93, and we know this area is probably going to become this area is going to become the most traded price of the week. So what I can see possibly happening is I want to see this supply broken, maybe even broken a little bit, and then I want to see it come back here and hold this area in the market be not that weak, and then it can spur like a melt up today. That's number one. Okay. Number two, if the market tends to just drift back and we get a little pullback and we start to go back into this demand zone and test overnight lows, right? You got a nice demand zone gap here, big demand zone, right? You got the most traded price of the week, would act as support. Now, I'd only be interested in this if the market's kind of like in parity. It's not super weak, it's not super strong, okay? So if we came in here and did something like that, we probably would go back here, okay? That's all I'm interested in today for the long. And then I'm done. I don't even, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen, okay? Short side. So for the short side, okay, we're already setting up right now, right? We're in supply. We're at, so this little dash is a 60 an hour supply inside, I believe, an 8-hour supply. Okay. So, and we got thin volume, right? You have thin volume. When you have this thin volume, that shouldn't really act as support. Okay. Like I said, see how we're getting some selling now, right where at value area high of yesterday. So this area here, sellers want to step up and engage. Okay. Sellers want to step up and engage. Now remember, like I said, this area is probably going to become the most traded price of the week. So you want to take this out. Call it 60.95, 60.96. You want to take it out. So you could just see the volume accumulating here, right? That's why we're kind of like hitting a wall here. So what I would like to see is a push up, then start getting lower highs. You push through that 60.95, 60.96, you join it, break through that most traded price of yesterday, you're probably going to go down, right? If you break through the most traded price of the overnight, you're going to come down. You're going to test the overnight lows again. Right at that month-to-day VWAP, right at the week-to-date and month-to-date VWAP, they're the same. Okay. Big demand, though, here. Was that really? It depends how weak we are. If we are weak, we're going to go right down to where? 60.62, the most traded price of the last 5 days or the last week. Okay. Now, this is a big demand zone gap here. I have to put it in there, right? Do I think this does all of this? I don't know, right? It still would be bullish if it hit here and it bounced, right? But if we take that out, yeah, you can go down pretty nasty, right? Pretty nasty. We can go down to here. You do got support around at 60.47. Just got to put it in there, right? I think more realistic, if we did, we'd bounce here. Okay, we'd bounce there. All right, that's all I'm looking for. Now, again, I'm suspect. Now, look, you're getting some selling already. So I'm suspect of all shorts. So you just have to be in this market environment, right? Let's see here. Let's move on. Let's go to NASDAQ. Let's check out how NASDAQ looks compared to the ES. Okay, let's see how NASDAQ's doing. So Nasdaq's profile, let's look at it together. We'll make it a little smaller here. Okay, look at this profile. Now Nasdaq yesterday, all right, what it did, it's not really showing you yesterday exactly, but it really held this overnight low in the beginning and pushed up. Okay, now we're coming from ultimate balance here. Let's call it 212. That's why we've had such a nice big move up. You come from ultimate balance, that's what happens. And value has not migrated up. Now, you can see there's double distribution in the weekly profile. This price, all right, here, let's call it 215, probably going to migrate the most traded price of the week up here, and that is bullish. Okay, so that's probably going to happen today. All right, now look what happened here in price action with this news. Okay, let's get in here. For the NASDAQ here. Let's get a little closer. And let's look at some key levels together. All right, what did the NASDAQ do? Okay, right in the overnight low, pulled back to a demand zone and popped out. Okay, we have a decently balanced profile in the overnight. Okay, inventory doesn't really matter. We made all-time highs. You can see we're in a big supply zone. Same just like the ES, big supply zone. Okay, big. And we hit, see the price. Let's see, I'm going to put this in the background a little more. Let's do that. Okay, so look what price went. Here's the 1 hour supply inside this big supply, right? And that's where we got resistance. Where also the most traded price of yesterday. Okay, where value area high from yesterday, right? This is where confluence all comes in. Okay, now this is very similar to the ES. This level 215, right around here, is going to become most likely the most traded price. Now look, this is the most traded price of yesterday. Okay, so this level is very key. The market, you want it to hold it to go higher. If the market cannot sustain up here and you start to come through it like you are now, you could come down. Okay, that's how that works. Okay, now we do have, let's call it 215.37. That's your value area high from yesterday. Lines up with overnight high, lines up with yesterday's most traded price and supply. Okay, got thin volume here. Very balanced profile. Okay, so that's your area. Here's your boxes, right? I'm going to engage here, or most likely, am I going to engage down here? So what's below here? We got a nice demand zone here, and then below this is the big gap. Okay, those are all the key levels that I am looking at. Now remember, this level is very important right in here. Okay, you can see this little divot, this a little bit of a low volume node here. That's support and resistance. If you look to the left, that's this area, right? So like I said, if the market starts accepting value below this, we could push through and go and test this bottom of this demand zone here around 213.88. Okay, so let's map it out. Let's map it out together, right? Let's do some scenarios here. All right, let's go to the bull case. Bull case, here we go. All right, remember, important level right here, 215. Let's call it 215.09, and we're going to do here. Remember, this should be the most traded price of the week. This will migrate up here. It's a little bull bear line, okay? So what you want to see, bulls, take this out. Now you're in supply here, so what I'd really want to see is take out supply, get a little weakness, and start to hold in this area, and then you can melt up today. Okay, melt up. Second, second bull case is okay. Let's just say we start to and we get that flush down into this demand, right? And let's say the market's not that weak. Well, I'm going to be interested around 213.88, that top, the bottom of the top of this gap, higher, some lower highs, and we can probably work our way back into this area, 215. Okay. This gap too could be posed as a bear trap because once you go into the gap, let's say that gap all of a sudden became support, and when you hit that demand, you could do this as well. Okay, that's what I'm looking at as the bull case. Now, bear case here, you're in supply, right? Remember this level, 215. You want to defend all of this, sellers. Okay, all of this. So what I'm looking for is a nice push up into here and test this level. If you come through, start holding, yeah, that's probably going to start to make this lower. You're going to hit the overnight lows in this demand. Now, can you touch the top of this gap and break this demand? You have very thin volume here, okay? And you could possibly go down to like 213, what is that, 05? Fill that gap, maybe you get the bounce here. Now, like I said, anything can happen, but you do have thin volume here. It's a pretty decent demand zone. You also got month-to-date VWAP and week-to-date VWAP right here at 212, 213.25. Okay. You also have, let me point this out, last month's highs, 213.40, right here. That could also stop the market. Okay. That's what I'm looking at today. That's about it, folks. That will do it for me. All right. That will do it for me. Now, hopefully you enjoyed this. Please smash that like button if you did. Okay. We have a plan. I know where I want to engage the market, and I know what I want to see if my areas get tested. Okay? I know what I want to see if my areas get tested. Now, this week, now I've been disciplined before, okay, for many weeks. I've some days not been disciplined, right? This week, it's the most disciplined I could probably say that I've ever been. And I think I said this statement the other day, a profound thing that I just thought about when I was talking to my wife. And I always, like I say, have an edge, right? I have an edge. How to read markets, how to put risk on, right? But I never was embracing the edge that I have to not put risk on, to look at the market and go, why would I trade that? Be just as strong in my conviction of don't do anything. Like, this is not the market you want to trade. That has really resonated with me this week, and I believe going forward. It's just as important to stay out because this game is not about let me just see if this works. I want to trade something that I know works for me most of the time, not where I'm manufacturing a trade. Where I'm like, well, I mean, this could happen, and it could, right? Those always could. So I want to stay away from those because I want to stay sharp mentally, right? This week, I've had trades 4 days in a row. I've let's say this week, Monday and Tuesday, very good days. I took one trade on Monday. I took two on Tuesday. One was break even. The second one was a nice winner, right? I'm up 400 and something percent for the week. I didn't take a trade on Wednesday. I took one trade yesterday, and it was a small winner, right? But on Wednesday, I did have a trade set up, but then it ran without. It kind of like before I was gonna look to enter, my risk got skewed, and that's another rule I implemented. I'm not going to enter without my risk being in my favor. So it did wind up being a nice. It would have been a nice trade. Yesterday also, I was wanting to get long at the lows, but my system didn't align. I wanted to see an excess low we put in that support hold. It didn't break low a day, and then it went back up to the highs, right? I was looking to long, but I wanted to see what I wanted to see. Okay, so I guess what I'm telling you is what I'm really doing is concentrating on what I want to see, what makes me money, instead of being like, because when you're like wishy-washy, you're always mad if you don't take it. Then if you take the wishy-washy trade and it wasn't good, then you're mad at yourself for taking a wishy-washy trade. And then that messes you up mentally for the real trade. So I'm just sitting back going, if I don't see what I want to see, am I going to be upset that I'm up for over 400% for the week? Or am I going to be more upset if let's just say this. Let's say I'm up over 400% and I take two trades that are like, and I'm break even now. Like, so, all right, I played a little bit of the game, the trading game, and now it cost me because it really wasn't the setups I like. It was kind of, and now I'm break even for the week. That's what I'm trying to look at now, trading. Take the opportunities that the market gives me, where it's like you need to trade this, not like, well, I mean, this could work, and then be okay with it. That even if this could works, because that's I would have had 4 days in a row if I entered, but I didn't see my system line up on Wednesday, Thursday. It wasn't all lined up like it was on Monday, Tuesday. You know, so hopefully I'm hopefully you're hearing that I'm on a journey, right? A trading journey. So I don't know. Hopefully you guys appreciate that little insight onto the world of trading psychology, right? It is a beast. All right. So I'm gonna leave you with that. Everybody have a great weekend. Right? Not a lot of good things happen after 1 o'clock on Fridays usually. Okay. Now, no trades to trade. I hope you guys stay green, and I'll see you next week. All right. Now again, hopefully you guys subscribe, send an alert. All right. And I owe a lot of trading videos. I'm finally like my voice is starting to get back to normal, so hopefully pump these out on the weekend. All right, everybody have a great weekend. Take